earlier, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, when we were still like meeting friends in groups of 2 or 3, this one friend was already telling everybody, no, the rules are I'm gonna stay at home, and the rules are to avoid unnecessary contact. So yeah, I remember kind of rolling my eyes in secret at that point, and now I feel quite mortified and ashamed. So yeah, quite the change of mind here.
I got one coworker who just doesn't get it. Like always in your bubble, always in your space. Like, yeah, before it was just annoying. Now it's like you could kill.
Istanbul feels to me now is like a ticking time bomb. People are just not really doing the social, or as we now say, physical distancing.
There's still always everywhere groups of people who think they should get to go to the beach or get to go play.
There are still people who goes jogging, I don't know why. So they had to close all the parks.
There are a huge number of people there drinking and making fuss, and even they are like hooking up. It seems like it's normal.
50% of Iraqi people are not even following the instructions.
There are still people who perhaps don't adhere to what's being told or don't believe about what the consequences are.
As a student, I would see my friends after college, going out together in large groups, and you would think they would be more understanding of the whole problem, but they didn't care whatsoever.
People want to go out and hang out and have fun and party, and I'm thinking about our human rights, that we have some form of self-determinism, and on the other side we're endangering people.
In the northeast of the country, people are having dances and having parties, and a lot of people are still thinking that this quarantine is really just a holiday.
Some people don't take it seriously, that they just meet up for secret corona parties and drink and dance all night because they don't have school or work the next day.
Through the last 24 hours, there has been a procession in the streets. People were shouting and praying together in huge numbers.
A lot of people really don't get it though. They really don't understand the profundity of what this disease can do.
I think that the young generation should listen and take precautions, because if they keep acting this way and thinking that they won't get sick because they're young and their immune system is going to help them, then no, you just can't depend on that.
On the streets it was a little bit more empty than yesterday, and for the first day I noticed that people do the personal distancing.
Most people are keeping distance because most people again understand that we really don't have a treatment.
I was in a pharmacy, I wanted to buy something, the girl took it out of the box and showed it to me without using gloves, without having cleaned her hands first.
The bread used to be on display and you could probably squeeze it and see if this one's crunchy enough, or if you prefer the other one that's lighter. And all the bread is now hidden behind the counter. There's quite a large counter, and then in front of the counter there's a kind of barricade of tables and chairs beyond which you cannot pass.
I forgot something when I went out of the groceries last week, and when I went back there were obviously people around it, but I needed to talk to the cash desker because I left my credit card there, so I really wanted my credit card back, but there were people and I didn't want to actually pass near them, so it was very uncomfortable because I didn't know what to do, and everybody gets very nervous when there's something like that going on, so I just managed screaming and saying, I need my credit card back, and they made spaces,
When I pass people on the street, mostly they're wary. There's not a lot of trust in people's eyes.
People are trying to keep their distance. Everybody seems really weary and a bit stressed out.
So on the one hand, I think when you look at people, you can kind of see almost a deer in the headlights look, but also kind of the goofy sort of nod of, yep, I'm keeping my distance, you're keeping your distance, we'll take care of each other.
We're here, we're trying to protect each other, and that's why we're doing this. I'm not particularly afraid of you or what you may or may not have, but I appreciate your staying away.
When we go out for groceries, I find that people around me are much more angrier and scared because we're all afraid of touching each other or even seeing each other.
When I'm walking in the street and I see someone coming the other direction, I would cross over to let them pass. And there's very often a kind of acknowledgement of the other person. Some people are very scared, and so there's a kind of angry tension in their bodies and they won't acknowledge anything.
People didn't really seem very open or friendly. They just seemed very worried and very focused on themselves.
I think I've noticed two main behaviors. There's this one kind of person that doesn't really care about the virus, maybe doesn't wear anything, mask, gloves, nothing. And they're the one that really come next to you or reach something with their arms in front of you while you're, shopping, and don't really think about making you comfortable. And then there's this other behavior, which is the opposite, that is the person that has, I think, 5 pairs of gloves, mask, eyeglasses, hat, everything on, and doesn't really, and it is bothered that you exist.
These are actually very scary times, and people are reacting as if they're scared.
It can be indifference or just, aloofness or even disdain.
I think in general, at least in my immediate vicinity, people are very conscious and very careful of our mutual vulnerability. It's a kind of new form of exchange and respect.
There are so few people around, but all the people that you see are actively engaging with each other from a safe distance and from behind their masks. From just my eyes, you can't tell whether I have a smile on my face or a blank look or maybe a mildly unhappy look. Everybody that I crossed paths with today looked at me in a really friendly way. We recognize that we're really, truly all in this together.
This friend I have, the other day, she asked her driver not to go straight to her house coming back from work, but she asked him to stop by her grandparents' house. And so she went down the car and she saw her grandpa standing out the window. They called, they left, she made him a surprise, so he didn't know. He started crying and she started crying, and even the driver started crying.
There's lots of small acts of kindness. For example, there's this bakery here giving out free bread for everybody who works in healthcare or who has to work at a food store. That is pretty great.
Shopkeepers are allowing the elderly to shop early before the general public.
I've been volunteering to help the elderly that have a early morning. It's like 5:30 in the morning until 8 a.m. to do their shopping. So I've been over there helping as they can't really reach high shelves. So a bunch of us from my transgender community have been helping out in that way.
There is a lot of good people that are helping the poor people. There was a rich man in Baghdad who paid 20 million Iraqi dinars and filled a big truck filled it of food, groceries, and what's necessary to get through the day or the week.
In our apartment building with 14 apartments, I initiated a WhatsApp group a few days ago, and one person besides me offered to bring food and other supplies for people who don't want to leave the apartment or cannot leave the apartment.
So many of us are prepared. We've gotten conflicting things from our local and federal government on what people should be doing. So now it's really been up to the person to understand how serious this is, and now that we see how serious it is, to take care of ourselves and one another. And that's what I've begun to see just in the past week, is more people less concerned with themselves, but helping their neighbors, their elderly, their family. And this has become more important because this is the only way we're going to really beat this.
One of the things I'm thinking about is that at the end of this, maybe in June, maybe in August, maybe by next November, we will have a clear idea of how this worldwide calamity has changed the way we behave as human beings. I believe that we will learn to behave differently towards our Earth. I believe that we will learn to behave differently towards each other as a result of this monumental lesson where we're all being told by Mother Nature to just go sit in the corner and think about what we've done.